How easy is it to take a passion project and turn it into a viable business in the 21st century?
Look, somebody once said that it's really easy to start a business nowadays, and perhaps what we need is we don't need more small businesses. What we actually need is more successful small businesses.
Sure.
And I mean, this might be a little bit controversial, but I think that that's really true. And what I think is we actually need more barriers to entry to the small business market and greater support once they're in the small business market. I think the dynamic we have at the moment is it's really easy to start a business. You can take a passion project, go onto Fiverr, a couple of dollars, get your brand out there, and start slogging away, spending a bit of your budget to get things going. But once you're in that environment, once you've got your company set up and your website and your branding and maybe a few customers, what support do you have then? And the reality is there's very little support. There's very little SME support from banks, from government, from accountants to help those guys once they're going. And the end result is that they're investing a little bit of money. It's not a viable business. It might be a passion project.
Yeah.
And passion's important, but unless you're making money, there's no point.
Yeah.
So it's really important, I think, to perhaps take passion projects and have some sort of filter that enables people to know whether it's going to work when they become a proper business, and then have proper support to support guys that are in business already. Because right now I think we have an environment where it's relatively easy to get some sort of business going.
Yeah.
But the sustainability of it is sort of questionable over the long term, I think.
And where would you get that support from?
Well, that support I think primarily comes from accountants, if you ask me. So there is the government element of support, but I think as long as government employs people who have never run a business, I question the quality of support they're ever going to be able to provide a small business. I think the untouched resource or the untapped resource in the South African economy is the accounting industry. If we can properly mobilize the accountants to begin providing information that is presentable and understandable to a lot of their clients to make decisions in real time, not 6 months after the end of the financial year, perhaps that's the opportunity that they need to build those sustainable businesses. Because you can see the writing on the wall a lot of the time before it happens.
Yeah. And an accountant can also help with expansion as well.
Absolutely, all of those decisions, whether it's taking on investment, whether it's something as simple as should I take out an overdraft, what's happening with my debtors if they're increasing and they're aging, how's my liquidity, or just basic things of understanding scale. A lot of companies look at their turnover, and what's that old saying? Turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, cash flow is reality.
Yeah.
So the turnover's going up, and they feel, sort of emboldened by a lot of their increased activity and traction that they have, but their profit margins are shrinking a little bit, and their cash flow is a complete mess. So I think accountants are there to provide that clarity on that information. The challenge is that if accountants are not using the proper tools in their business, they don't have the time or the focus to do that.
I see.
So we've been relegating accountants for 30 odd years to an environment of data capture, requesting and processing information, statutory compliance work. We haven't used a lot of the education that they have to actually enable a lot of these businesses.